Whether it's hunting, defensive use, target shooting, your bullet is what delivers your intention to the target. It's the last thing doing its job when you pull the trigger. So today we're talking with Mason Payer from Nosler. Welcome into Gun Talk Nation. This Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Franklin Armory and Nosler, or as the VO guy said once, Nosler. Mason, welcome in, man.
Hey Ryan, how you doing? Yeah, no Nosler. It's Nosler, but yeah, probably one of the most mispronounced names in the industry, I think.
Yep. It's still like a video or a piece of goofy content that I want to do, because we'll send off these names to a professional voice actor, which is awesome. These guys are like, they sound so good. Guns and Gear is brought to you by, but then occasionally we get a Nosler, Rugger. Wait, that's Ruger. You know, you have to like, no. Loophole. Everyone screws up Loophole.
Yeah. They probably tie for the most mispronounced. So
yeah. So Mason is out in the Great West, Northwest, out in Oregon, with Nosler. So the other day, man, we were on the range and we were shooting the ASPs, which is your ammunition, your bullet, the assured stopping power. Explain to people what that is.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be happy to. So the ASP or ASP line it grew out of an existing bullet line. So we've been making what was previously called our sporting handgun pistol line of bullets. Been making those for a few decades. Great bullet. They're very accurate, very effective. But just the name was kind of a mouthful, again, and it wasn't very exciting, and then when we started loading handgun ammunition several years ago, we started loading those bullets in what we called our match grade handgun line. And again, great ammunition, very accurate, very high quality, but just the name wasn't very exciting. And so, we wanted to, improve the bullet a little bit to make it more applicable to the needs of shooters today, and also rebrand it, rename it to just give it a little bit more excitement and just talk a little bit more about the benefits of the bullet, because we really feel like it's kind of an overlooked product line for us. We're really well known for our rifle hunting bullets, of course, because we've been making them forever, but we wanted to do something to increase awareness of our handgun bullet and ammunition lines.
Well, in this one, you kind of alluded to it. People may not remember the match grade ammunition pistol ammo that you guys were doing. This is that, but you have made a couple little changes and upgrades or updates to it.
Yep, exactly. So biggest change is noticeable right off the bat when you look at the bullet, and that's the skives that we added to the nose and mouth of the jacket. So we added those nice deep skives that go all the way through the jacket down into the core. And that's really going to help with expansion. Really going to help that bullet start to expand immediately upon impact, give you that nice wide expansion that's going to transfer that energy, just make that a very effective bullet, and help also eliminate any issues with overpenetration. And so the skives are really the addition to the bullet, what changed the bullet. And so you'll see those both in the component bullets and then the loaded ammunition as well. And so we made that enhancement. And then of course in the ammunition line, we've added some loadings over the years. So of course the 10mm has been really hot lately. So we're loading 10mm ammunition now. And then we've got 2 loads in the line that are suppressor ready. They're subsonic. So the 45-230 load, that's a subsonic load. And then our 9mm 147 is a subsonic as well. And so if you're going to run a suppressor on your pistol, you're ready to go with those. And we also made sure those bullets were going to expand correctly at those subsonic velocities and perform well.
Okay, I was going to ask that. So even at subsonic, they're going to open up and act like a hollow point should act.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. So the skives, if you're listening to this is kind of bullet design geekery, but you're basically putting these cuts, these lines into the jacket of the bullet. Just helps it start opening up and expanding. Is that a good way to explain it?
Correct. Yeah, because you're right. So yeah, skive is kind of a fancy word for like a cut. And so everyone who's looked at a JHP handgun bullet knows what a skive is, maybe without even realizing it. You know, you've seen them before. So they're those lines kind of radiating out from the nose of the bullet. And what they are is little cuts through the jacket. And what that does is that gives that jacket a weak point for that jacket to come apart to start to expand. So rather than having solid copper that's got to kind of tear apart, you know, just on its own in sort of a random fashion, by putting those predefined skives there, that's what gives you that nice kind of classic JHP, you know, expansion where you get those, you know, ends up looking like the leaves, you know, flower petals or claws or whatever you want to call them, you know, where that jacket will open up along those predefined lines, and that gives you that real consistent expansion.
Do you guys have an expectation as far as what the penetration should be on this, or is that not part of the testing on this product?
Yeah, of course, you know, kind of everybody tests around, you know, the FBI protocols. I know I was just looking at, you know, Richard Mann actually did a nice review on the ASP line just recently in Shooting Illustrated. And so he was testing the 9mm 115s, and he was getting like 1.5 times bullet diameter expansion, and he was getting about 12 to 13 inches of penetration, which is pretty much exactly what we designed those for. You know, with the 10 and the 45, of course, you're going to get a little more as your bullet weights go up. You're going to be getting some more.
Yeah, some more penetration. You know what's funny about it is because we were shooting these into some gel, and the more you do bullet testing, the more you kind of learn, and also I guess you're maybe a little bit better able to predict what you think is going to happen. Now, being in the deep South, it's hot here. Outside, that can certainly affect what happens when you shoot in gel. But Chris and KG were out there, and they had several where they didn't catch the bullet in the gel. But he said, "Oh, we caught one that was a 40." He said that was surprising to him because it's going faster than the 9 and the 45. But I said, well, no, that actually makes sense to me, because if it's going faster, it's going to open up quicker and it's going to slow down quicker. I mean, am I explaining that the right way?
Yep, you're correct. Yeah, I think that is one of the most misunderstood aspects of bullet performance. I see it a lot, especially on talking about hunting bullets. You know, guys are like, oh, I was using a 300 Win Mag, is only 80 yards away. I can't believe it didn't exit, you know, but
right.
It's like, you got to remember, yes, the faster that bullet's going, there's so much more stress on that bullet. Yes, it's going to expand wider. So then that much larger frontal area, it's just that much harder for it to penetrate through whatever medium. And so, yeah, a lot of times a slower bullet can end up penetrating more. It's totally counterintuitive. But unless, you know, you get into like the old school Taylor knockout values and stuff like that, you know, it's the never ending argument of light and fast versus slow and heavy, you know?
Well, and the bullets it's all happening so fast that it's hard for us to think about it that way. But it really is like, if it's a, you know, a pointed cylinder, and then all of a sudden it starts becoming this big, wide, flat pancake. And if that happens starting 2 inches in versus starting 6 inches in, and now you've deployed the parachute, like the sucker cannot, and it's getting weaker because everything is getting thinner, the jacket walls coming out. And then, like, if in the example of what you're talking about, a 300 Win Mag at 80 yards or something, that sucker, you're going to start peeling off pieces, or I mean, depending on what the bullet is, right? It's very likely on a lot of different bullets, and this isn't necessarily a failure of the bullet, but this is an extreme test of a bullet. When you start peeling off pieces of it, now you don't have as much mass pushing. It's not a freight train anymore. It's a smart car. You know, it's like this little bitty thing trying to go through an elk or whatever.
Yep. Yeah. You talk about sectional density being kind of an indicator of a bullet's potential for penetration, and so a heavy, long, skinny bullet's got a very high sectional density, Well, as soon as that bullet starts to expand, one, your frontal area or your cross section is increasing. So now your sectional density is going down. You're starting to lose weight. So again, that's decreasing your sectional density. So you're taking away all of that ability to penetrate. So yeah, the faster it goes, the faster it expands. Sometimes the less it's going to penetrate, because you're right. It's just a wider, mass that you're trying to push through. So that's why you see on like our expansion tip bullets, so our solid copper bullet, because they don't lose any weight really. You get nice expansion, they expand in those 4 petals, but you don't lose any jacket, you don't lose any core, and so it retains all of its weight. So those bullets penetrate extremely well, because you'll get a much longer, deeper wound channel, but it'll be a little narrower, because you're not getting as wide of a wound channel as you would with, say, like a ballistic tip or an AccuBond, where you're getting a little faster expansion, a little bit of some secondary projectiles coming off. So definitely, yeah, it's always interesting to see like what actually happens when you shoot gel, or what actually happens when you use these bullets in the field, because it's not always what you think you might expect.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite sometimes. Mason, you just took some shooters out to the range. They got to shoot suppressed for the first time. After the break, I want to talk about what that was like. Sig Sauer just dropped a new pistol, the P365X Macro. Yes, it's a P365, but it's different. It's bigger. It holds more ammo. And when I say bigger, it doesn't mean it's big. It's still very trim. It's probably the most concealable, compact gun to carry 17 rounds in a flush fit magazine anywhere out there. More capacity, more shootability, more concealability. The P365X Macro. Macro means more. You can learn more at sigsauer.com. Nosler has assured stopping power, ASP ammunition, and it's loaded with their ASP bullets. It's kind of an evolution from the match grade ammunition line, but same quality and attention to detail. But this is really specifically designed for duty and defensive use. Loaded in Nosler hand stamped brass, utilizing quality components throughout, the ASP ammunition can be relied upon to perform in a wide variety of applications and ranges. You can learn more at nosler.com. So Mason, you were at the range this past weekend, had your boys out there, and you said it was their first time shooting suppressed. Tell me about that. What was that like?
Correct. Yep. So of course, with us adding suppressors to our product lineup now, everyone, here has gotten a lot more opportunity to experience shooting suppressed. It wasn't something that I had done a whole lot of until Nosler started making suppressors in the last year or so. But no, the first was obviously just like the cool factor. I mean, the boys were super excited. I took my sons out to the range yesterday, and the first thing they were just like, whoa, that's so cool. And so that was neat just to see the excitement. I mean, they're always excited to go shooting, but anytime you bring out something new or a little different, then of course, that's pretty neat. But yeah, my younger son, so he just turned 12. And so he was going to be shooting a 308, and a 308's, it's no slouch. You put it in a 8-pound rifle. Yeah, it's not a lot of recoil, but for a new younger shooter, it's enough to where,
yeah. A 30 caliber bullet. I mean, was that him? Was he stepping up? Was that going to a larger caliber for him?
Yep. Yeah, he was stepping up. So, because he's going to be hunting this fall, and so I wanted him to start shooting his hunting rifle. But I was like, you know what? Let's take the sting out a little bit. And so what I did was I put one of our muzzle brakes on, and then the SR30 suppressor over the top of that, and yeah, he just loved it. And so they were having a great time shooting that. It just totally took the, it takes so much recoil out, it takes the blast out. And it was especially nice too, because, I'm spotting for him, I'm coaching with him. So I'm sitting right next to him. And a lot of times being like next to a shooter like that, you take more of the blast than anything else. It just starts to rattle you after a while. And so I was really appreciating that too, having the suppressor on there, because I'm sitting right next to him, coaching him. And, the muzzle blast is basically non-existent. And so he really enjoyed that. And it was interesting to watch him because, he was just loving shooting the rifle. And we started out too, we were shooting. So we have a 110 grain Varmageddon load that we load in the 308. And so I had him shoot those first, just, starting with the lightest bullet. Let's just work our way up, get comfortable. And he was really enjoying it. And so then at the end, we were shooting the 165 AccuBonds, his hunting load, and he was liking that too. And then at the end, we took the suppressor off, just to give him a little bit of a feel for, okay, this is really what it's going to do. And you could see that it wasn't quite as much fun anymore. Like the groups started to open up a little bit, and you could just see the difference. And so I definitely made the right choice of running the suppressor on there for the first shots.
Do you think that you guys will hunt the suppressors with suppressors on there?
I think so. Yeah, it was because that was one of his first. He's like, "Well, can I hunt with the suppressor?" It's like, "Well, yeah, of course you can." And so, I definitely think so. Before I was kind of ambivalent. I was like, "Oh, it won't matter as much," but seeing the confidence that he had using it, and seeing his group started to open up too when he switched to not having it, so you could see the effect on the target. And then the other rifle, we had a bolt gun out there in 22 Nosler, and my older son was shooting that, and he was running the suppressor on that as well, and that's really fun because you can watch your hits with that.
Oh gosh, yeah.
There's virtually no recoil, and so he was just banging away at the steel and having a great time with that. And so
were you using the same suppressor on both guns?
Yep. Yeah, I was just we had brakes on both guns, and so I was just swapping the suppressor back and forth, because I kind of like them. It's kind of good for them to take a break a little bit, and between rounds, and so we'd swap it back and forth, and it worked great on both. And so they were both really enjoying it. So it was
such an amazing thing. And you're right. I mean, a 12-year-old can absolutely shoot a I guess I'd call it full caliber centerfire rifle. It's no problem, but it is where the blast and the recoil can start just getting them a little bit nervous, even if it's actually not hurting them. It just makes them a little bit more apprehensive, and it messes with the groups, right? I mean, my daughter last year, she's shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor, suppressed, never reacted to recoil whatsoever, and shot a couple 100 rounds, doing a class and then doing a hunt. And I was amazed because I was really kind of like, oh boy, I hope that, because I knew there's going to be a lot of rounds shooting for doing a 3-day pistol, or I'm sorry, rifle class, and then going to shoot. But she never got the yips or anything sensitive to the recoil. It was just amazing. What did the boys say about it?
They just thought they just thought it was the bet. They're like, "Oh, that's so fun. Like, can we shoot with those every time?" And they're just like, "Oh, it makes it so much more fun and just so much more comfortable." It's really, until you experience it, it's hard to explain how much of a difference it makes. And it's multiple things. It's not just the noise, it's the blast, it's the muzzle blast. And you don't really notice it until it's not there, until you shoot a few rounds suppressed and then you take it back off and you shoot and you're like, oh, it's like, whoa, like,
yes,
put that back on, and I've gotten hooked. I mean, I'm just like, what's the point of, why bother going out if you don't run a can? It just makes it so much more pleasant at the range.
Another thing, where you guys are out in the high desert, it can be dusty and gritty out there. And when you're shooting, depending on especially in a hunting situation, if you're laying prone, those types of things, you can blow dust and sand and everything everywhere. Whereas the suppressor is going to help mitigate that, kind of control that, tamper it down. And so now you don't have that issue going on as well.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, there's just so many benefits to it that it makes just shooting that much more fun, just that much more pleasant. I think it's a great way to go and has a lot of benefits.
So people think of Nosler, they think of bullets, they think of ammunition, but Nosler is a gun company as well, has been for several years now. After this break, I want to talk about Nosler rifles. Franklin Armory is known for binary triggers. One of the new ones, the BFS 3 22C1 binary trigger. Binary triggers for your 1022. It's probably, I don't know, I think probably the best use of a binary trigger and just some of the most fun you can have shooting 22s. Because now you're able to shoot even faster. And heck, 22 ammo isn't that expensive. Easy to install, all that good stuff. Franklin Armory, if you're wanting to swap out your 1022 trigger, shoot faster, have some real fun on the range, check them out. Springfield Armory just introduced a new gun, and it's a double stack. No, it's not an XDM. It is the Prodigy. This is a double stack 1911, which I don't believe they've ever done that before. It's kind of it's a whole new platform for them, and you get lots of capacity, obviously. The Prodigy they have a 4.25 inch gun, and then they have a 5-inch gun. Both are optics ready. You can get them with the Hex Wasp optic. But what do you need to know? Forged steel frame, forged slide, a polymer grip module, which is interesting, offering capacities of 17+1 and 20+1. So these are, big old chunky magazines, but the grip is not chunky. Shot it, liked it. It's very cool. It's very tricked out, and it costs a lot less than you think it's going to cost based on the quality of this gun. So you can learn more at springfield-armory.com. So Mason, as I said before the break, people think of Nosler for ammunition. They think of Nosler for awesome bullets. But you guys are a rifle company. Actually have been at it for a while now. I'm tempted to say, oh, they started making rifles. Like, well, actually, we've been doing it for a while now, so it's going to stick. It's a thing. Or people, if they're not familiar with Nosler rifles, talk about that.
Yeah, it's my maybe my biggest failure as marketing manager is that people still say like, oh, Nosler makes rifles. They're still like, as much as we like to think that we've told everybody about it, we still got some work to do. But yes, so we've been making rifles since 2005, and so bolt action, primarily hunting rifles, and so right now in our lineup we've got two different rifle models, really two different actions, and so since 05, we've been making what we call our Model 48. So all of our rifles were based off that Model 48 action. Just a really great design. It's got a flat bottom. It's got an integral recoil lug, just super accurate. You bed that in a stock and it's not going anywhere. And just had a lot of success with that rifle line over the years. But it was time to offer something new. And so last year in 2021, we introduced the Model 21. And so that's our newest rifle offering. So right now we have one model available in the Model 21, and that's you can view that on our website. It's a push feed action. It's a machined action. It's got a round bottom, so it's compatible with anything that's compatible with like 700 type footprint.
Okay.
But what's unique about ours is the way that the recoil lug actually keys into the front face of the receiver, and so get those two together. It's not just sandwiched in between the receiver and the barrel. It's actually locked in there. There's some close-up photos of that you can see on our website as well. You get that in there, and there's no way for that to move or twist. It's just super secure, and so you bed that into a stock, and it's just rock solid. And so yeah, that's actually what we were shooting with the boys yesterday. Were Model 21s, and so that rifle, we've got the Model 21 action. We're using the Schillen barrel. Comes with a threaded muzzle, so you're ready to use, brake or suppressor, whatever you want to add onto the muzzle there. It's in a Macmillan stock, and we've got a Trigger Tech trigger as well. And so really just the best components available, all combined into one to just make a really solid hunting rifle.
And you guys have in a bunch of different calibers, chambered in a bunch of different things.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, we've got a bunch of different chamberings, the Nosler cartridges, of course, and then as well as the other popular offerings, 6.5 Creedmoor, 300 Win Mag, things like that. And yeah, there's going to be more rifles coming based off of the Model 21 action. And so there'll be some new introductions for 2023 coming out fairly soon. Some things we're pretty excited about. And so just excited to see where that action takes us, and new models that we're going to roll out.
All right, Mason, you guys, you don't discriminate. So I was going to ask you, all right, top 3 cartridges and why for Mason Payer? What's the ones for you, the go-tos?
My personal top 3. Oh man. Okay. Well, I like big heavy bullets when I'm hunting big heavy game. That's just kind of a go-to. So I've always been a big fan of the 338 Win Mag. I've used that on quite a few hunts and just had really good success with that cartridge. Usually I'll load the 225 AccuBond, and I mean that's just deadly. I mean, if you want to, if
you can hunt pretty much everything with that setup.
Just about everything, yeah. So I've hunted, elk with that round. Have hunted. This Neil guy behind me, that was the 338. That was actually a 200 grain E-tip. So I've shot the E-tips in that as well. The expansion tips are solid copper. That's a great bullet in that round also. But yeah, if there's something big and you want it to go down right now, the 338 Win Mag is no slouch, that's for sure. So I like that round a lot.
All right, what's another one?
Go to. So another one, of course, I got to go with the 28 Nosler. That I think probably maybe the 2 quickest, like just lights out kills I've had on game were with 28, and that both times that was actually hunting out in Texas, and both of them were just, it was like you flipped a light switch. Like it was just they went down in their tracks and just were done.
And so, Aoudad are tough and typically longer shots.
Yep. Yeah. Mine weren't too crazy. I'm trying to remember. I think it was like 200 to 300, so it wasn't like, long range, but I mean, anything 3 and over, you're starting to, it's starting to be long range. But yeah, not, crazy far out there, but the 28 will definitely do it. It's got the velocity and the trajectory, give you that confidence. And then it just delivers the energy on target when even when you're just out, when we're out shooting steel at the range. I mean, you can just hear and tell the difference when those big 175 AccuBond long ranges, they'll just definitely deliver the mail.
It hits like it's angry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it just hits hard. So,
and then probably I'm thinking the third one, you got to think of one if we're going to go varmints. You guys make this great Varmageddon ammo. What caliber are you going to go there?
Varmageddon, man, that's a tough one. Growing up, I shot a lot of rock chucks or marmots out here when I was a kid with a 22-250, which of course is a great round. The 22 Nosler is a great round as well, right there with the 22-250. Really enjoy that. But, I'm going to say it is pretty hard to beat the good old 223 because, it's just, there's so many rifles available. You got so many rifles chambered for it. I mean, it's America's cartridge, you know. I mean, it's so versatile too. There's so many different offerings in it. I mean, you can load it for varmints, you can have it in your AR for home defense. You can hunt deer with the 223 with the right bullet. I mean, we load we've got our we used to load our defense bullet, the 64 grain bonded solid base. Yeah. And a couple of people, and now the one I really like in that is the 55 grain E-tip, the expansion tip, that solid copper. That bullet is deadly. And so, within reason, reasonable yardages, with good shot placement, if you've got like a young shooter that's really recoil shy, or just anyone that's just really recoil shy, just not comfortable with a larger round, if you stay close, you load the right bullet, you can absolutely hunt deer, hogs with a 223 all day long. And so I just love it for the versatility of it, most of the time there's ammo available.
You never know.
You never know.
You got to be flexible. This day and age, like, you can't get locked into a particular cartridge or particular gun. You got to be flexible, whatever's out there. Now, I know you guys, I mean, hunting season is right here, and the Nosler guys, you guys are a group that I know are always taking trips. What's the next one up for you, and what gun, what bullet are you taking?
So for me, actually, the only plans I have for this fall are that hunt with my sons. And I'm actually more excited about that than I think anything I've gotten to do for myself. So they've both got youth cow tags here at a unit that's not too far away, but a pretty good unit with a fair number of elk in it. And it's their first big game hunt for both of them. And so they're both going to be shooting 308s with 165 grain AccuBonds. And
awesome. I tell everybody, you cannot beat an AccuBond bullet. I mean, it's like, because we test a lot of stuff, and that one is just always impressive, always consistent. And I mean, when you care to send the very best, you send an AccuBond.
That's right. Yeah. No, they're both, that's what we were practicing for yesterday. They're both confident in their rifles. I'm confident in that round. I know, if when they put it where it needs to go, it's going to do the job. And I'm really looking forward to that this fall. And some of the other guys, of course, then Jeff Sipe, he's up in Alaska right now. He's trying to go for like the old school Alaska safari. They're chasing moose and bears and caribou. Awesome. And he's up there on a hunt. So far, I haven't gotten any word on any success yet, but they got some time to go yet. And then, some of the other guys around. One of our production guys, he just got himself a black bear here locally last week. Nice. So our fall bear season's open, and the trophy photos are starting to come in. So it's exciting.
Yeah,
exciting time of year for us here.
Yeah, awesome. Well, good, man. Thanks for being on with us.
Hey, I appreciate it. Anytime. Love chatting with you guys.
So if you are looking for, like I said, to send the very best, whether it's a hunt or whether it's on the defensive side of things, target shooting, we didn't even get into that too much, but even just precision target shooting stuff, Nosler's got you covered. That's it for us. We'll see you guys next time on Gun Talk Nation.